So we will start today's session. Like in this Sunday sessions, we are discussing Bhagavad Gita specifically for professionals. And today's chapter is very relevant for all of us because we all are working professionals. And while we are working in our life, we have to do many decisions. We have to take many things. We have to actually think and decide, and many times there are questions in our mind regarding how we should work in our life so that we are not bound by the work, and finally we can realize God. So today's session is very practical session where Lord will be answering these questions. So a basic question may arise that already Lord has given us this knowledge in initial chapter, that specifically in the third chapter. So why he is repeating this question again, or why he is trying to answer this question of how to do work or what is karma yoga again? The reason is that in third chapter, what Lord has given was just an overview, and now he will be explaining further about it. So before starting our session, let's pray to the Guru Tattva so that he guides us to understand this very subtle knowledge. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gauru Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Bhagavad Gita basically deals with 5 topics. First is who is Ishwar or God. Second is who is Jiva or the living entity. Third is what is Prakriti or this material nature. How this Prakriti runs through the entity what is known as Kal, and whatever Jiva is doing with this Prakriti is known as Karma. Now we know through chapter 3rd of Bhagavad Gita, Lord has said that Gahano Karmana Gati means karma is very difficult to understand. That's why Lord says that Karma Yoga is like a first step, then Gyan Yoga, and then Bhakti Yoga. So we are right now in this phase of understanding Bhagavad Gita, which is known as Karma Yoga. Normally, people will respond and say that I don't need all this knowledge. I am working since so many years and I've been a very successful person in terms of earning money or getting fame in the life. So really, do we need all these questions regarding work? So let's ask few questions. Why are you working specifically? How you should work? And why bad things they happen to us? Supposedly we are good people, so why bad things happen to us? So what is this karma cycle? This is what Lord is going to explain in this chapter. So till now, what Arjun has understood till now that so either we can work or we can renounce the work. This is what is understanding of Arjuna. What understanding Arjuna lacks in his life is that work in full knowledge is also non-reactive, and it is also same as inaction. So there is very subtle point that when you don't work, actually nobody can remain like that. To sustain his body, he has to work. So nobody can remain without working. So this concept that we can renounce everything and we can get out of this cycle of karma is very ill found. Actually, it doesn't exist. Concept what exists is that you can work and still those works can be non-reactive. When those work will remain non-reactive? When you are working in the full knowledge. So what is better, or what is more important, or what is more beneficial, work or renunciation? Normally we say that work is one compartment and renunciation is another compartment. कर्म एक हिस्सा है, जो कर्मी है वो वैरागी नहीं हो सकता, जो वैरागी है वो कर्मी नहीं हो सकता. ऐसी हमारी जनरल सोच है, but it is not so. When we understand much more in depth in this chapter about karma, we will understand that somebody can work in full throttle and still he can remain a renounced person. This is very unique quality about Bhagavad Gita teachings. Bhagavad Gita gives us that specific knowledge of that part of a spectrum which is normally not there even in Vedas. So like I always say in these sessions that Bhagavad Gita is very structured knowledge. And here in this fifth chapter also we are seeing the same thing. There are only 29 shlokas in fifth chapter, but these 29 shlokas are beautifully placed in a logical flow of thought. The first 6 shlokas, they deal with the Nishkam Karma Yoga. The second up to 12 shlokas, 7 to 12, they deal with how to perform this Nishkam Karma Yoga. And then most important and most confusing aspect of this chapter is from 13 to 16, that actually who is the doer? Normally we think that I am working, so I am the doer. Or some people in India, they put everything, all the onus on God and they say God is the doer. So even when they are doing wrong things, what they will say, oh, Bhagwan kara rahe hain humse, hum thodi kar rahe hain. So today we will first time understand through Lord Shri Krishna that actually there are 3 doers. Now just pause and think, do you know all the 3 doers? If you don't know, then you have to understand and listen to this lecture. Now comes the 4th section of this chapter, when they will be explaining that just by focusing on the super soul, how we can get liberated. And there is one more aspect of liberation. Lord gives a glimpse of what is known as Ashtanga Yoga, sort of a preview, which he will be eventually discussing in much more detail in 6th chapter. And then comes the celebrated last shloka of this chapter, which is known as the peace formula. So today what we are going to focus on is Nishkam Karma Yoga. What are the 3 types of doer which Lord wants to explain to us, and how we can get liberation and finally attain the peace, actually what we all are seeking. If we just pause and think about our life, the whole life we are doing and searching only 2 things. One is happiness and another is peace. And if we technically analyze, actually we need happiness just to remain peaceful. So finally what we are searching is peacefulness. So Lord will give us a very nice formula. If we understand and apply that formula in our life, in that single shloka, if you apply in life, you will become peaceful. So no need to have lot of knowledge. Just understanding 29 shloka will make us peaceful. So how this chapter starts? This chapter starts with same question which was there in 3rd chapter. And question is that doubt in Arjuna's mind, what should I do or what is better for me? Should I renounce everything and go to jungle and do some meditation and read some scriptures? Or should I fight? What is better for me? Oh Lord, please tell me. This is Arjuna's query to Lord Sri Krishna. Now let's see how Lord Krishna wants to answer this. So just to give you a preview, in 2nd chapter, Lord explains the preliminary knowledge about that we are not this body, we are a spirit soul. So he gave us knowledge that how to get out of here. In 3rd chapter, he gave a basic platform of understanding of karma. And in 4th chapter, he gave us that knowledge, that specific knowledge which can lead us to perform our duties in a better way. Now in 5th chapter, what Lord is giving is that question which arises in everybody's mind that, okay, I understood there is some concept of devotional service. So should I do devotional service? And I should become a transcendental and free from all the reaction? Or should I do some Jnana Yoga practice, Sankhya Yoga practice, sit and speculate about something, some dry mental speculation? So what is better for me? Should I work as a devotee or should I work as a Jnani or Sankhya Yogi? So this is the first part or first section of this chapter, what Lord is going to explain. So what Lord says, Sannyasa karma yogasya nishreya karabhuvo. That means that Lord is not saying that one is better than the other. What Lord is saying that, okay, initially he starts his talking by saying that, okay, you either renounce the work or work in devotion. Both are good for liberation. But in second part, he explains us that if you have that choice that you want to either renounce or work in devotion, then definitely devotional service is better than any sort of renunciation. So this is what is understanding of Lord which he wants to give us. Now, if we read commentaries on this specific part from our Vaishnavacharyas, we will know that there are two types of vairagyas or two type of renunciation which have been explained. One is known as Phalgu Vairagya. Phalgu Vairagya means false renunciation. An example of this would be a sort of what we call as Shamshan Vairagya or Markat Vairagya. What is Shamshan Vairagya? Whenever someone dies, then all the people they go to crematorium and then they sit there and for their half an hour they discuss that this life is of no meaning. All this running around for money is of no use. Eventually, everybody has to die. So one should develop some spiritual inclination. Now, this is just a Falgu Vairag. This is a transient renunciation. The moment he comes out of that Shamshan Ghat, he is again indulging in all the activities which he was anyways doing. So, what is happening? Finally, this Vairag remains just on a mental level. It never touches the heart. And better would be to remain in this world and to be not of this world, what is called as Yukta Vairagya. So Lord wants to give us that concept that just dry renunciation or improper renunciation or premature renunciation is not going to help you. So what we should do? What we should do is, if there is a true sannyasi, he will not hate either the fruits and he will face all the dualities also. So how somebody can become a true sannyasi? The only way to become true sannyasi is to have some transcendental knowledge. Unless and until we have transcendental knowledge, we can never become a true sannyasi. So how to become true sannyasi? By developing proper knowledge. Now, normally what happens whenever we talk about sannyas, people think that, okay, I will become a Sankhya yogi or I will become a Gyan yogi. Now, Sankhya yogi is not a very good renunciate. And Lord explains the reason why he is saying so. He says that actually on a higher plane, Karma Yoga and Sankhya Yoga are same because eventually Sankhya Yogi will also become self-realized. But what is the problem with Sankhya Yogi? The problem with Sankhya Yogi is that he will take a lot of time because it needs a lot of analysis. And finally, if he is perfected in that analysis, eventually he will come to that conclusion that yes, actually doing work for Lord is the ultimate pinnacle of understanding. But then he has taken a long route and still he may be attached to the matter and it will be difficult for him to ultimately realize what is the reality of life. So why to do two things? First, we have to develop Sankhya Yoga, Gyan Yoga, and then devotional service. Why not directly attain the devotional service? That's what Lord wants to give us in this section. So very nice example can be taken to understand this. Suppose I have this mobile in my hand. Now, if I want to pick up something else, like for example, keys, then I will have to keep my mobile down and then I will have to go and catch the keys. But these two things can happen simultaneously also. If I have attraction for keys, automatically my mobile will drop. Same way, in Sankhya Yoga, what we are doing, we are analyzing the matter, we are analyzing this whole world, and finally we are coming to conclusion that some entity is behind all this working. Some entity is behind all this orderly arrangement, and that entity is known as God. And what one should do? One should serve that God. Now, this is a route which takes time which takes lot of efforts. And finally, then we have to practice devotional service only. So why not do it in a first go? So Karma Yoga done with detachment allows us to become materially detached and spiritually attached at the same time. Like if I am attracted to keys, I will put down mobile anyways. I don't have to put any extra efforts for it. So same ways, if I am attracted to Lord, I will anyways leave this world. So renunciation, I don't have to develop. It will just be a side effect of devotional service. So if I have that higher taste, then lower taste will automatically go. This is what Lord wants to explain to us. So what Lord has explained till now, that okay, there is one way which is known as Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga, and another way which is known as devotional service. Now, which is better of the two? Lord says that both are good, but devotional service is better. Now, how Karma Yoga or doing devotional service in a Nishkam Yoga way is better than Sankhya Yoga? So, Karma Yoga path is actually, it is a tedious task. Why? Because there are three levels of understanding about God. One is Brahma, the all-pervading nature of God. Second is Paramatma, and third is Bhagwan. When we go through the Sankhya Yoga philosophy or Jnana Yoga philosophy, a maximum we can reach is only up to Brahman realization, that God is there in everybody's heart. We cannot have the Bhagwan realization through this path. So we have to put so much effort, and finally what we get is just the partial understanding about God. While if we go through the devotional way, we very easily attain the understanding about God or Bhagwan directly. So that's why Karma Yoga or Nishkam Karma Yoga or devotional service is better than Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga. And this link between these two things are that there are two different paths. Goal is same, but there are two different paths. Now, whenever we have to go, suppose from Jabalpur, we want to go to Nagpur, and there are two-way roads to go reach Nagpur. Then we will definitely ask two basic questions before deciding which road we will take. The first question we will ask is, which is a longer route? And second question we will ask is, how is the road? Is it difficult to drive there? Is it safe to drive in that road? So these two questions we should also ask. When we want to go for any self-realization path, then we should ask whether it is a tedious task to go through that route, or whether it will take a lot of time or many lifetimes. And when answer is that there is one easy road, we will definitely take that easy road. When answer is there is one easy path which is actually made for this time and age, why not take that path? Intelligent person will do the same. He will take the path which is easy to take. Now, all the Mayavadi philosophers who wants to understand God through Gyan Yoga, they go through this long, tedious route. And all the Vaishnava sannyasis, they go through this route of Karma Yoga. So Gyan Yogis, what happens? Most of them will not reach up to their target because somewhere they will be actually enamored by something and they will fall down. The reason is very simple. Most of the time, as we understood from Lord's words, that actually becoming a true renunciate is very difficult in this time and age. So what Vaishnava sannyasi is doing or a Vaishnava practitioner is doing, he is actually trying to understand God living in this world. So he's doing all his duties also. So it is easier for him to put into practice what he is learning. While somebody who is trying to renounce the world, it is very difficult for him because all that knowledge just remains in the theoretical realm. He never develops that love for the God. And because of this, there is a basic difference, like we can see from verse 3.3 on the third chapter to 5.2 to 5.6. There are so many things which specifically Lord says that if you want to become a Mayavadi, renunciate, or a Sankhya Yogi, it is very difficult in this time. While to work through devotional service is very easy. Just what we have to do, we have to study some scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and we can do multiple engagements in devotional service according to different regulative principles. And there are very less chance that we will fall down. Because what we are doing in Sankhya Yoga, if I give you one example, in Sankhya Yoga is something like that. We want to find out the root of the tree. And finally, when we'll find out the root of the tree, we will understand that root is Vishnu. And now I want to water that root. While in devotional service, what we are doing, we know that this is the main trunk of the tree. And if I put water there, it will reach up to that root. So this is the basic difference. Every time when we water the tree, we don't find out the root. We know that, okay, root exists because tree exists. Same way, we know that this world exists means Lord is there. So why not directly serve him rather than putting our peanut brain and trying to understand that who is God and how I can understand him. Now, when we understood that, okay, out of the renunciation and karma yoga, Lord is favoring karma yoga. And because we are actually trying to follow Lord's teaching, we will also follow the karma yoga. Now question arises, okay, I want to do karma yoga, but what type of karma yoga? We already understood in third chapter that there are three type of karmas. One is simple karma, one is akarma, and third is vikarma. Vikarma is the wrong karmas which we should not do. Akarma is doing karma only for the sake of Lord. The karmas which will not bring any reaction to us. So how to do that Nishkam Karma Yoga, or how to do that working with detachment in our heart, is what Lord is going to tell us from 7 to 12th. So what he says, Yoga Yukto Vishuddhatma Vijittatma Jitendriya Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma Kurvan Apina Limpyate. So how to work is very specific way to understand. The person who is acting in Nishkam Karma platform have some realization, some actions, and some results. This is very important slide to understand. What is realization? The realization is that just now I gave you example, it is like watering the root. Realization is that just we feed the stomach and energy reaches to all our organs. So what we are doing, we are seeing all the living entities, spirit, soul, the part and parcel of Supreme. So we are, everyone is dear to us and we are dear to them. Now how I act? I act by fully controlling my mind and senses, and they are not very difficult to control because I am putting all my senses into service of Lord, who is master of all those senses. And what is the result of working like this? So once I get realization, I act in a certain way, and the result which I get is I will never be entangled in this work. Whatever I am doing is doing for Lord Krishna's sake. So finally, what happens? When we work like this, we have some specific duties to do in this world. So what is the duty what we can do? Duty, whatever have been assigned to us by the society. But how we will do? We will engage in all these duties in a loving transcendental way. All duties we will love to do. Why we will love to do? Because we love Lord. We love his teachings. We love that how he is actually helping us. And finally, what will be the result of all this activity? Result will be, again, we will be free from all the foundations of karma. How we will be free? Lipyatena sa papena padma patra ivam bhasa. We will be free just like a lotus leaf is having a drop of water on it, and that water is free to move all around. It is not bound by that leaf. Same way we will be free. We will not be attracted to all this negativity of this world. So whenever we work in a Nishkam Karma platform, result is that we will never incur any sin. And a very nice example is what Lord gives us as analogy, that lotus, it fully blown lotus is there in that all muddy water. But that muddy water cannot contaminate that lotus. Same way, we are working in this world, using all the resources, doing all our duties, but we are not entangled. Just like that lotus is not disturbed by that water or that contaminated pond. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the result unto Supreme Lord, is not affected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. And we have already taken one example in third chapter, that how a soldier, when he is performing his duties on border, when he is delegated by government, he kills someone, he gets medal for it. Why? Because he is working on the behalf of government. Same way, when we are working on the behalf of Lord Sri Krishna, we are not affected by the sinful reactions. Otherwise, we have to bear all the burdens. So, kayena manasa buddhya keval indriyerapi yoginah karma kurvanti sangha tyakta shuddhaye. So, kayena manasa buddhya. So, kayen means body. So, what we are doing? We are just understanding that we have to dovetail everything what Lord has given to the service of Krishna. Actually, everything belongs to Krishna. So our body, our mind, our intelligence, sometimes we have this sense of proprietorship. We think that, okay, I have this knowledge, how, why and how, and should I share with everyone? I should keep this knowledge with me. But we should understand that actually everything belongs to Krishna. So this knowledge also belongs to him. And when we know that it actually belongs to Lord Krishna, we will act through our mind, body, and intelligence to share this knowledge with everyone. This is the right understanding of this knowledge. So how and why we should act? We should act just because we have love for Lord Krishna. Our only motivation for work should be our attraction to Lord Sri Krishna. Not that I am attached to doing some specific work and I will do that work only. That's why Lord says, Yuktah karma phalam tyakta shantim apnoti neshtikim. Neshtikim shantim you will get. Why and how? Yuktah karma phalam tyakta. Now, whenever we act, actually we are motivated to do some action. And why we are motivated to do some action? We are motivated to do some action because we are attracted to that fruit. Why I want to work and slog like a dog whole day and whole week? Because I want to earn money. Why I want to earn money? I want to enjoy what comes with money, what I can buy with that money, what prestige and fame I can get with that money. So which work we want to do? The work which brings us money, the work which brings us fame. But actually, this is the cause of our entanglement. Because whenever we are thinking that I am working for my sake, we will always be in anxiety. Always this world of Dukkhalyama Shashvatam, the dualities will force us to do in certain ways, certain actions, and then bear the reactions. While when our motivation is only to serve Krishna, only to serve Lord, then what we are doing, then there is no anxiety. Whatever I am doing is for sake of Lord Sri Krishna. However and whatever way he wants me to do that activity, I will do. I have no anxiety. I am very free. I am peaceful. So we need peace. But if you really need peace, this is the secret. This is the secret how I will get that peace. So this is just a summary from 7 to 12, how we can understand the flow of what Lord wants to tell us. The summary of Nishkam Karma Yoga is that first, mind, body, and senses completely control. Second, act without attachment, no desire for result. Third, act with body, mind, and intelligence and senses only for purification, not for enjoyment. Next, knows that soul is inactive, actually materially. Only body is acting, our mind is acting, our past conditionings are asking us to do something in that specific way. And finally, what is the result of all this? If we really understand this Nishkam Karma Yoga and actually perform our duties in Nishkam Karma Yoga way, we will attain the unadulterated peace. So, the living being who knows that all the bodily activities are automatically carried out by modes of material nature, after those activities are sanctioned by super soul, attains enlightenment through that knowledge. Now, in 13 to 16, the most confusing part of this chapter. And if we understand this, we have actually grasp the meaning what Lord wants to tell us. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasaste sukham vashi. Navadware puri dehi nevam kunvat karyan. So Navadware puri dehi, this word, this whole body is actually made up of 9 doors. And as a super soul we are actually residing in this body. But what we have to do while we are residing in this body? Sarva karmani manasa sanyasaste sukham vashi. Why we are acting? We want some sukh. That's why we are acting. But what we should do and how we should do? Then let's understand this important aspect. So actually, when we know that soul is just residing in this body, why my soul is suffering? The reason for my soul suffering is that this soul is placed in this body. And when this soul is placed in this body, then it keeps on suffering until and unless it gets out of this body. So this body is the reason for our suffering. And how and why we should get out of this body? If we want to actually end our suffering, we have to somehow get out of this body. How we can get out of this body is by following the process of Krishna consciousness. So, Krishna consciousness, what it tells us? Na kartavyam na karmani lokasya srajati prabhu na karma phala sanyoga swabhavastu pravartate. So, question arises that who is actually acting? Is this the soul which is acting? But right now only we said that soul is just living in this body. Soul is actually not the karta. Then who is the karta? Is Jeev the karta? Is this living entity is the working? Is Supreme Lord, he is the karta, or this prakriti is the karta? This is a very confusing question which has been asked in a lot of Upanishads, and there are different type of understanding which people develops. But in this chapter specifically, Lord Shri Krishna gives us very nice understanding that okay, if you think that you are the karta, you are the doer, then you are responsible for all the actions. But we know that even if I study very hard, I may not come first. So definitely, yes, the results are not totally in my hand. So who is the karta then? Who is the decider that what will happen? So okay, let's think that Lord is the karta. He is the final authority. But if he is the final authority, why doesn't make everybody devotee? That means that Jiva's independent nature has some role to play. Now there is third aspect or third dimension also to it. Maybe this actually modes of material nature are actually working. These Rajogun, Tamogun and Sattvagun are actually forcing us to work, and they are the real kartas or they are the real doers. So who is the real doer? Is the Jiva real doer? If Jiva is the real doer, then definitely and surely he should suffer. If Lord is the doer, then why I am suffering when he is making me to work? If the modes of material nature are the doer, then let them suffer. Why I am suffering again? Let liberate me. So this is the question which, if we are serious in spirituality, we have to find answered. And what is the answer which Lord is giving? We will discuss in today's session. So living entity does not create the activities actually, nor induces people to act, nor create fruit of action. These all are done by modes of material nature. In Shloka 14, Lord is very clearly saying, okay, so we have got the answer that modes are working. Actually, they are inducing me to work and they are leading me to suffer. So what I have to do? Somehow I have to cut these threads of modes of nature which are entangling me, and then I will be liberated. Is this so easy process? Or is there some other reason why we are forcing to work. So let's understand the 15th shloka. What Lord says in 15th shloka. The Nadate means the role of Supreme Soul. What is the role of Supreme Soul? The soul or Jivatma is there, and then there is Super Soul or Paramatma is there. The soul is just Anu, a very small fragmental particle, and Super Soul is very big, Vibhu. Now, who is working? Is Jivatma working? So, right now we said no, Jivatma is not working, the three modes are working. But then who is sanctioning them? Who is sanctioning authority? So, one in knowledge sees material nature as being under Lord's control. So, just in 15 shloka, Lord said that Jiva is not working, three modes are working, and now he gives a hierarchy to it. Okay, three mode is working under control of Lord. Lord is actually controlling everything. So it means the Lord is the ultimate performer. Then he is Sarva Karan Karanam, the cause of all causes. If Lord is the cause of all causes, then why am I suffering in first place? I have not done anything. I should be liberated from here. This is a very injustice to me. So let's see, is it really injustice? Jnanena tu tad jnanam yensha nashit matmanah. So what is that knowledge? What is that knowledge which will give us the real understanding? Knowing the relation between super soul, soul and material nature. If you know this triangle, then you will understand actually who is working. So what is happening? Jiva is under the modes of three nature and he is bewildered and thinks that I am the doer, but he is not the doer. Three modes are actually inducing him to work. Then what is the role of Jiva? The role of Jiva is to actually think about doing. So if we just pause and think for a minute, till now in our life, in all these years on this earth, whatever we have actually acted upon, it all started with a thought. Nothing occurs without thought. And from where that thought is coming, that thought is not coming from three modes. Why? Because they can't think. That thought is not coming from Lord Krishna because he is not actually engaged in thinking for us in that way. So that thought always comes from us. So suppose I have a thought that I should buy a big car. Now this thought has come. Now what happens? This thought will go to three modes and via three modes to Lord Sri Krishna, who is sitting in our heart as Paramatma. Whenever that thought comes, Lord will see our past karmas and he will try to fit in whether this particular desire can be fulfilled or not. If that particular desire can be fulfilled, Lord will sanction that and I will buy a car. If because of my past karmas that desire right now cannot be fulfilled, then I may have some issues buying that car. I may not have enough money to buy that. I may not decide the really in the model which I want to buy, or if even if I may decide that, I go and I will find out that that car is unavailable in showroom for next 6 months. So what is happening? I had a desire. Through three modes, that desire went to Lord. Lord actually checked my past karmas and reserves, whether I have enough karmic account to buy that. And if it is there, then he will sanction it. So all these three entities have role to play. The thinking or the thought arises from Jiva. The Lord is the sanctioning authority and material mode of nature facilitates it. So actually, who is the doer? Actually, we are the doer. Why we are the doer? Because actually thought came from us. So we may be a very insignificant atomic particle, but we have that particular thought, and because of that thought, we are the doer. So who is responsible for doing? The person who thought about it. So soul is the thing which desires. Lord never interferes in that desire. And then as a super soul, Lord actually allows it. So soul desires and Lord does not interfere. Lord as super soul sanctioned those desires that soul deserves. And then mode of material nature carry out the action. Now question arises, who is the responsible one? If we really understand, then we are the responsible because we started this cycle. Who started this cycle? We started this cycle. Even in law, if we say in modern law, if someone just thinks that he wants to murder someone and then he arranges some people on a higher basis and gives them contract that okay, you go and kill that supposed person and I will pay you this much money, then law will always give the most rigorous imprisonment or punishment to the person who in the first instance started that cycle of thinking to kill. Yes, same way, whenever we have that desire to do something in this material world, we are actually starting a new cycle of our entanglement. हर बार हर कर्म के साथ हम अपना बंधन जो है वो आरंभ कर रहे हैं. हर नया कर्म, हर नई सोच हमें बांधती है, हर नई सोच हमें बांधती जाएगी. तो कैसे कोई छूटेगा यहाँ से? ये छूटने की बात या लिबरेशन ही सेक्शन डी है. When Lord says that if you concentrate your consciousness on me, then you will see everyone equal. And when you see everyone equal, you have got the real knowledge. And when you have got that real knowledge, you understand that actually all this material pleasure is temporary. And when I understand that this material pleasure is temporary, I will never delight in them. And when I don't delight in them, I never ever have a new thought that I want to enjoy it. And when I don't have that thought, I understand and learn to tolerate myself. And when I learn to tolerate myself, I am a liberated being. So liberation arises from fixing our consciousness on Lord. So this is very important. If we really want to fix our consciousness, we should have some knowledge. And how we can remain fixed? When we understand the glory of Lord, when we understand that understanding Lord as Brahm or Paramatma is very inferior understanding. Understanding him on the level of Bhagwan is actually real understanding. And this is the most important shloka of this chapter. Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Cheva Shwapakecha Pandita Samadarshina. So there are so many pandits going around putting tilak, wearing dress as a pandit, but actually they are not pandit. In definition of Lord Shri Krishna, Pandita Samadarshina. Who is Pandit? Pandit is someone who is Samadarshi. How Samdarshi? Samdarshi because he sees a Brahman, a cow, a elephant on an equal platform. So he doesn't discriminate people on the basis of their birth, on the basis of their karma, on the basis of their species. He is Vidya Vinay Sampanne. He has got the real knowledge. And mundane vision will be whenever we go out in the world, we will see, oh, yeah, this is different species, this is different caste, this is rich, this is poor, this is black, this is white, this is European, this is Indian, this is male, this is female, this is child, this is adult. No, the spiritual vision is everyone is equal. Pandita Samadarshina. So if we want to liberate ourselves, if we want to really do Nishkam Karma Yoga, if we really want to do work in a way that nothing entangled us, then we have to become Pandita Samdarshina. And when we become like a Pandita Samdarshina, what happens? Our vision of self-realized soul will be developed. There will be no attraction or hatred for anything. I will be without any desire or hatred, and I will never rejoice or lament anything. And because of these two things, whenever we see something which we like, we are attracted to it. Whenever we see something which we don't like, we are repelled from it. And this is known as Dvandva. Dvandva means we are not actually fixed up. But the moment we become Pandita Samdarshina, we are fixed. And when we are fixed in our understanding, what we attained is Brahma Yoga stage. Brahma Yoga means I know that actually, just like a person who is eating sweet meat has no inclination to eat mud. Suppose somebody is eating rasgulla, so nice rasgulla, sweet, juicy, and I give him this lump of mud and say, also, this is also round, that is also round. Why not have a rasgullas made up of mud? But you will say, oh, I have a lot of rasgullas which are very fresh and juicy. Why I should eat mud? So same way, if we develop that higher taste, we will be in that Brahma Bhuta stage. Once we experience that flavor, that taste, then all these things, all these dvandvas, all these differences which actually used to disturb us will stop disturbing us. Why? Because yehi samsparshya bhoga dukh yonah evate adhyatmantah kaunteya na teshu ramate buddha. What will happen? I will become Buddha. Buddha means intelligent. What I will understand? Whatever pleasure I derive from this skin, from this touch, is yehi samsparshaja bhoga. Dukha yonah evate. Whatever bhogas, whatever pleasure I derive, they are actually dukha yonah. Yonah means the birthplace. They are actually birthplace for dukkha. So right now I may develop some pleasure, but eventually it will be pain. Because two things will happen. One, either that thing which gives me pleasure will finish one day, or I will be fed up by eating same thing. Like if I like rasgullas, I may eat 2, 3 of them, 4 of them, 10 of them. But if someone wants to feed me 50 rasgullas, then my whole life I will never want to see rasgullas. Why? Because dukkha yonah evate. Even things which give us pleasure have one starting and end point. This is very typical of all the material pleasures. So that's what Lord is saying. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonah evate. Adhyatvantah konteya. That pleasure will start some point and it will end some point. So na teshu ramte buddha. The people who are intelligent, they will search for pleasure which will just not remain for a specific time period. They will search for a pleasure which will always remain with them. So all the material activity, all these pleasures, they are one source of misery. Second, they are temporary. Third, they are binding in nature. So intelligent person doesn't want to indulge himself in some temporary activity, doesn't want the source of misery, and doesn't want a binding nature. But what happens? We are actually so much conditioned living this life, so many lifetimes, that it is very hard to give up material activities. Know how to give all these sensual activities when we understood through Bhagavad Gita that actually they are finally leading to problems only. How to give this calm and krodh? How to become a Brahma Nirvana, Brahma Bhuto Adhigachati Yogi? How to attain that level? So, what we have to learn? Lord says that one and only thing you have to learn, and that is to tolerate. Once we start learning to tolerate, everything will be taken care of. What we have to learn? What Lord says in second chapter also. Tam titikshasva bharata. So what we have to learn? We have to learn to control. When we learn to control, when we learn to act for everybody's good, sarva bhut hite rata, what will happen? I will only work for everybody's benefit. I will not only work for my own benefit. This is a fine line. When we work for our own benefit, we are getting entangled, we are bound. When we are working for everybody's benefit, we are getting liberated. So anytime if you have doubt that this particular action I am doing, whether it will lead me to bondage or it will lead me to liberation. Just think for a second. Is that action sarvabhut hite rata? Is that particular action is for benefit for everyone? If it is for everybody's benefit, then definitely I am working in right direction. So how can we engage ourselves in purifying our activity? By working for the benefit of other. Now, what is the best benefit we can give to anyone? The best benefit we can give to anyone is knowledge about Lord Shri Krishna, knowledge about this Bhagavad Gita. So many time we think कि ये बहुत पीछे पड़े रहते हैं, क्यों पढ़ाते रहते हैं भगवद गीता? Why they are behind us? We are so happy. Why I want to learn Bhagavad Gita? I am doing my duties very sincerely, honestly. Why I should learn more about Lord Shri Krishna? This is the reason why we are doing it. Because when we are actually working for benefit of others, we are purifying ourselves. And this is what I have realized in my small efforts which I have been doing since last 10 years, that whenever we engage someone in devotional service, actually it is purifying for us. So all of us who wants to become serious and sincere, we should also try to spread this knowledge. We should also try to share this knowledge. We can also share information about these sessions which we are taking. We can contribute in many ways. We can ask questions, we can give our viewpoints, we can discuss, we can debate, we can spread this knowledge, we can talk about it with our colleagues, with our friends, with our family members, with our children, so that they also learn this knowledge. Because the only way to become liberated is to work for benefit of others, and the best benefit for everyone is, and anyone in this whole world, is devotional service. So that's why Lord says that Kam Krodh Vyuktanam Yatinam Yat Chetasam Abhito Brahma Nirvanam Vartate Viditatmana. Kam Krodh Vyuktana. So we all want to be out of this Kam and Krodh, but how we can actually find that salvation? By meditating. By meditating, we can find out this salvation. So I may right now be away from Lord association, but if I keep on contemplating, thinking about, and fixing my mind and intelligence in Lord Sri Krishna's understanding, someday I will definitely understand him. So how is the vision of a self-realized soul? Let's summarize that also. First foremost, he equally views every living entity, irrespective of species and caste. There is no attraction or aversion to any type of matter. His intelligence is fixed in self. He is not rejoicing or lamenting for material events. He is never attracted to sense gratification. And internally, how he is doing? Internally, he is tolerating everything. How he tolerates? By focusing his happiness and activity inward. When I am happy inside, I am not agitated by whatever is happening outside. When I am purifying my external activities by working for benefit of other, I am automatically getting liberated. And when I attain this vision, and when I attain this internal cleanliness, automatically I attain the liberation in near future. This is actually proved in many examples if we read Bhagavatam. So one can become free from desire, fear, and anger and fully liberated through Ashtanga Yoga. This is just a glimpse of Ashtanga Yoga which Lord gives. That if you want to really control your mind, there is a way out how you can do it. And that way out is known as Ashtanga Yoga. And what we do in Ashtanga Yoga, in next chapter, we will be actually taking it in much detail, that Ashtanga Yoga means 8 things. The yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, or samadhi. So there are different ways, some do's and some don'ts, some postures, some ways of breathing, some ways to control our mind, and slowly we can actually learn to focus on Lord Shri Krishna. So question arises, okay, I do Nishkam Karma Yoga, I will do whatever you are saying, I will do my internal cleanliness, I will externally act only for benefit of others. Then what I will attain? What you will attain is everlasting peace on the platform of liberation. A person in full consciousness of Krishna, who knows Krishna as the supreme controller and benefactor and well-wisher of all living entity, attain peace from the pangs of material desire. This is most important shloka of this chapter. Bhoktaram yagya tapsam sarva loka maheshwaram surat sarva bhutanam gyatvam mam shantim icchati. So Bhoktaram yagya tapsam sarva loka maheshwaram. When we understand that Lord is actually the Bhokta, He is the Yagya Purush, He is the actually person who gets all the benefit of everything what we are doing. And He is not only Yagya Purush or Bhokta, He is Sarva Loka Maheshwara. Not only Maheshwara of this earthly planet, He is Sarva Loka, all the Lok, they belong to Him. He is Maheshwara. And this is what is the upper or higher understanding about Lord, and what is better understanding on a devotee's level of understanding is Surad Sarva Bhutana. Despite being Sarvalok Maheshwara and Bhoktaram Yagatapsam, he is still a Surad. He is not a judgmental God. He is Surad. He is actually thinking good for everyone. Sarva Bhutanam, for everyone, all the species. And when I know this, I will be in peace. Why I will be in peace by knowing this? When I know that actually whatever I think that belongs to me actually belongs to someone else, then I am in peace. Suppose there is some house which is burning at a distance. And if you know that that house doesn't belong to you, then you are not much agitated, other than that you are worried that some life may not be lost, and you will try your way to actually douse that fire. But suppose that house which is burning is your own house, then you don't have that shanti. Then you are in panic mode. You want to do something to stop that fire. Same way, when I know that everything belongs to God eventually, Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, He is the Bhokta and Yagya Tapsa, then why I am worried? My life is also under His control. When my life is under His control, I am very peaceful. So, what is the peace formula? If you want to remain peaceful, then understand that Lord is actually in control. When you know that Lord is actually controlling your life and all the results, whatever are happening to you, you remain peaceful. So peace formula is Bhoktaram Yagya Tapsam Sarva Loka Maheshwara and Surad Sarva Bhutana. So this is 3-pointed peace formula. I know that all the sacrifice penances, they belong to Lord. He is the supreme proprietor of all the planets and demigods, and He is still benefactor and well-wisher of all the living entities. So I should not harm any living entity. I should act in a way that Lord remains happy with me, and when He is happy with me, I will also be happy and peaceful. So what is the conclusion? We started with a question: is renunciation superior to working in devotion? And what the answer we got? Krishna replied that devotional work is superior to renunciation of work. One who is detached from the result of his work is one who is truly renounced. And result of both ultimately same. The devotional service is superior because devotees can quickly attain Krishna. So if someone asks you what is better, renunciation or devotional service, the answer is devotional service is superior because it is quick, it is easy, it is actually can be done in a very smooth way rather than trying to attain the realization of God through Sankhya or Karma Yoga. So a pure soul will not become entangled because he knows that actually all these senses are working and that desire is actually coming because of past conditioning. So what he will do? He will develop his knowledge and he will act in a way that he is not getting bound. So this way we can become free from all the desire, all the fear, all the anger, and we can be liberated. So in chapter 6, Lord will give us that way how to control our mind, because mind is one thing which we have to learn to control. If our mind is not in control, we will never be a successful yogi. So what is the peace formula? Peace formula is to give us that everlasting peace. There are many other peace formulas, or Lord talks about peace in Bhagavad Gita in many places. This is just a glimpse of all those shlokas. Few of you who are interested in knowing more about it can go through all these shlokas where Lord is talking about peace. If we understand these shlokas, then we will understand how Lord wants us to remain peaceful. Then that peace will be everlasting peace, and it will not be a peace which is actually flickering peace, or peace which remains for some times and then it vanishes. So just to recapitulate the important point which we discussed today, who is the doer? The real doer is soul, which is misidentifying with this body. And karma and time. Why bad things are happening to good people? Why Lord doesn't give all reaction in this lifetime only? Because many time we feel like that कि ये तो बहुत गलत काम कर रहा है, इसके साथ सब अच्छा हो रहा है, तो हम भी एक लिस्ट बना के रखते हैं सारे बुरे लोगों की। बोले भगवान आएंगे तो उनको लिस्ट देंगे, भगवान शायद भूल गए आप इन लोगों के साथ बुरा करना था आपको, तो उनके साथ जो बुरा कर रहे हैं आज अच्छा हो रहा है, और मैं जो अच्छा करता हूँ मेरे साथ बुरा क्यों होता है? Why it is happening? So let's discuss this point briefly because this is very important aspect to understand. So we see, like we all are medicos, we know that HIV हो जाए किसी को, वायरस चला जाए, so there is a latent period, asymptomatic phase, जब उसको कोई symptoms नहीं रहते हैं, but suddenly HIV divide होने लगेगा, और फिर उसके बाद उसको कभी ना कभी एड्स के symptoms आने लगेंगे. So what is happening? Actually, that asymptomatic phase, one may think that he is all right, although HIV virus is there inside. Same way, when we are doing good and we think that I am doing good, why wrong is happening to me? The reason is that actually that wrong is happening to us because of some other wrong which we have done in past. How we can understand this? This is the example of a silo. Silo is how the grains are stored. So how they store grains? Whenever new crop comes, they put the new harvest from up. And how they remove the grains? There is a small hole here in the bottom, and then remove grains from here. So some year it may happen that there was a very good harvest, and we put lot of good grains in the silo. But when we actually come and remove from the silo, from the bottom part, what we get is very dried up grains. Why? Because 2 years back there was a drought, and actually uh, harvest was not very good quality, and that's what we have stored there. Now slowly time has come that it has come to the bottom part, and now we are removing it. So we may say that we have put a good grains. Why bad grains are coming from here? Because still they are not cleared off. Same way, we may do good in this life as far as we remember, but whatever we have done in past lives, that accumulated karma is still there, and we are suffering because of that accumulated karma. So I think my good karmas will last for life. So Lord says that yes, your good karmas will last for life, but actually doing good is also not very good, because if you do good also, you have to come back to suffer for that group. So how is our Sanchit karma? Sanchit karma is like a total bank account, and what we draw from it for our lifetime, this lifetime, is known as prarabdha karma. And what we are doing right now, and we are accumulating results, they are our agami karma. So this cycle continues. From Sanchit karma, we will get a life or a body because of prarabdha, and we act in certain way, and we will develop some agami karma which will be deposited in Sanchit karma, and this accounts never ceases to get actually operated. It keeps on operating like this only. So what we should do? How we can control our destiny? Is there a way we can control our destiny? Is there a role of free will? Some will say there is no role of free will. Some will say there is some role of free will. Like in today's session, Lord explained to us that there are three things which actually eventually decide how that action gets completed: our desires, Lord's sanction, and material nature's facilitation. So what is the role of prarabdha? Role of prarabdha is there because this body is because of prarabdha. So role of prarabdha is there. So role of free will is there or not? Role of free will is also there because some part of it is on us. That is to think that we want to act in a certain way. So our past karma is actually our present prarabdha. And our present karmas will determine our next prarabdha. So our karma is also important and our prarabdha is also important. So today's karma is our future. And that's why we took this session, that if we improve our karmas, then our future will definitely improve. So what is the role of all this Jyotish, numerology, future telling? Actually, some will say there is no role, some will say some role, some will say full role. Now, first and foremost, you have to find out someone who is a honest practitioner, then only there is some role of all these things, but not much role. Because you can only pause, you can never postpone, you can never cancel. So what happens if you do some Jyotish endeavors, you may pause or somewhat postpone what you are going to suffer, but you will never cancel it. So just doing bhakti also depends on prarabdha. Some will say, yes, it depends on prarabdha. Some other will say, no, it doesn't depend on prarabdha. Actually, bhakti doesn't depend on prarabdha. It is a free will. It is the right use of free will. So we all who are here trying to understand Bhagavad Gita, we are trying to do bhakti and this is not our prarabdha. So does good karma will nullify our bad karmas? Some will say no, some other will say yes. Actually, it never happens like this. You have to suffer your good karmas and bad karmas both. When I am saying suffer for good karmas also, because eventually good karmas also you will have to have some body to enjoy those good karmas. So all the pap and punya are actually binding us only. We have to go beyond good and bad. We have to go beyond this good and bad, and that is what is conclusion of this chapter. So why so many people suffer in natural calamities? The reason is that all these collective karma is there. In society, so many wrong things are happening. But how many of us are trying to prevent those wrongs? How many of us are trying to give the right knowledge and understand it very clearly? If you're not trying to improve situation in society, you are also part of that collective karma. So many slaughterhouses being run, so much injustice being done to people who belong to so-called low caste or people belonging to some specific gender or society. Are we doing something to rectify that? If we are not doing anything to rectify that, we are part of that karma and we will have to suffer for that. And that's why collective karmas occur and there are earthquakes and thousands of people die in one night. So do you know that more than 200 million animals are killed for food around the world every day just on the land? Just on the land, we are killing 200 million animals. Now, if we are killing so many animals every day, all those karma is coming to us only, all of us. We may say that I am a pure vegetarian or I only eat prasadam. It doesn't make any sense. Because it is happening on earth and we are living on this earth, we are responsible for it. Same way, like in class, if everybody is making noise and one child is very quietly sitting in the corner, when teacher comes, he punishes everyone. He doesn't say that, oh, वो एक बच्चा चुप था उसको छोड़ दो. No, it doesn't happen like this. Is Krishna bound by karma? No, Krishna is not bound by karma because he is beyond three modes of nature. Actually, he governs the three modes of nature. So is Krishna inducing Arjuna to fight is inhuman because Arjuna is going to kill so many people? Some will say yes, others will say no. Actual real understanding is Krishna inducing Arjuna to fight is not inhuman because actually it is dharma to kill because he is a Kshatriya. And Lord Krishna taught us to fight back our enemies in order to establish dharma. So if there is need to fight, fight. If there is need to establish dharma, fighting is also right. So how do I avoid bad karmas? Basic four level bad karmas we should all try to avoid. These are no intoxication. We should never take any drugs, alcohol, or any intoxicating elements. We should never gamble because gambling induces us for easy money and it destroys family life. We should try to avoid eating meat because for our tongue's taste, we should not kill someone. That someone is also belonging to God. He is also having soul. And we should never indulge in any illicit relationship because these four are known as ghor karmas or very bad karmas. So in Kali Yuga, first and foremost, we should try to avoid these four bad karmas. Now we do have sinful tendency, how to get rid of them. This we will discuss in next session, which we'll be taking in next point. But right now, what we understood till now, that if we have developed some higher taste, then doing or following these four regulative principles are not very difficult. So how to get out of this karma cycle? The only way to get out of this karma cycle is not to do good or bad, only to do karma for Lord Krishna. Then only we will be free from all the karmas. Now you will say that all those past karmas, what will happen to them if right now I start acting the way I should act? What will happen to my past karmas? Actually, I don't have to suffer for past karmas also because Lord will take care of all those past karmas also because He is so merciful. So actually, we may think that law of karma is there, and now because we have this knowledge of law of karma, what we can do, we can go and point out to everyone he is poor because of his past karma, he is suffering disease because of past karma, he is actually in jail because of his past karma. No, law of karma is not to point out others mistakes in this life or in their past life. Law of karma is to rectify ourselves. Actually, we have to improve. And just believing in karma like it happens in India, everybody says हम तो कर्म में बिलीव करते हैं, कर्म में बिलीव करते हैं, लेकिन कर्म के आधार पे जीवन जीते हैं क्या? कर्म के आधार पे हम अपने जीवन में बदलाव करते हैं क्या? अगर हम बदलाव नहीं करते हैं तो हम ऐसे ही जैसे ये फंसे हुए हैं जाल में, ऐसे ही फंसे हुए रहेंगे. अगर हमें ऐसे फ्री होना है तो एक ही तरीका है फ्री होने का, एंड दैट इज टू अटेन दैट हायर परफेक्शन. That Lord will describe in 8th chapter, which we'll be taking soon. So only real permanent factor in the drama of our existence is soul, which passes through various scenes of different bodies. So once we understand this transmigration of soul, we understand this ultimate knowledge. And what is this? कर्म की ज्ञान. एक्चुअली कर्म भी और ज्ञान भी. तो अभी तक हमने क्या समझा? प्रैक्टिकली समझा, थ्योरेटिकली समझा, और अभी हमने 5th चैप्टर में रियल लाइफ एग्जांपल से भी समझा कर्म या ज्ञान. प्रैक्टिकली हमने 3rd चैप्टर में समझा, थ्योरेटिकली हमने ज्ञान योग के चैप्टर में समझा. रियल लाइफ एग्जांपल में कैसे पुट करना है निष्काम कर्म योग, ये हमने आज के सत्र में समझा. एंड दिस वे वी एक्चुअली कंप्लीटेड दिस साइकिल ऑफ कर्म और ज्ञान. एक्चुअली बोथ कर्मा with gyan is the best thing what we can do. So question is not karma or gyan, or rather we can put it this way, question is karma or gyan and answer is karma and gyan both. So thank you everyone for patiently listening to me. I know that this was a bit long session, but actually what we are doing is trying to give an overview of whole chapter, and if we don't discuss all these finer aspects of these things, then many time we don't get that link or we think that कि कहाँ से क्या बात हो रही है. So what I tried to do is to give you an overview so that we can put this knowledge in practically in our life and we can understand it in a better way. So I am really thankful to each one of you who took out time on Sunday specifically to come for these sessions. I am really indebted from core of my heart, especially to all my seniors. I am especially thankful to Shashi Khare madam that she came. I remember when we started these sessions 2 years back in the evening Saturday class, and we started initial sessions on Bhagavad Gita. Madam blessed us with her presence, and since then she is regularly coming. I'm also thankful to Kavita Sachdeva madam. She is always encouraging us with all the endeavors. Samir Agarwal sir is really helping us every time. Either it is online or offline, he takes out his time. Anil Tiwari sir, he also takes out his time. I am really thankful to each one of you, sir and madams, that you encourage and bless us. Thank you so much. Is there any query, any correction, any questions we can take? Nilesh Prabhu, you want to ask something?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत
हरे
प्रणाम।
कृष्णा, दंडवत प्रणाम जी प्रभु जी।
प्रभु जी, ये पूछना था, जैसे कई बार हम लोग बाहर जाते हैं तो कुछ लोग हमसे मांगते हैं कि हम मदद करिए, तो उस समय हम लोग क्या क्या करना चाहिए? तो
Yes,
कई
yes,
बार
very
लगता है कि
nice.
मदद नहीं किए तो अपने में गिल्ट भी लगता है कि कहीं वो जेन्युइन आदमी तो नहीं था, और कई बार लगता है वो अपना मिसयूज ना कर ले,
यस
तो
यस, ये
पैसे।
प्रभु जी बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन है। और भगवान श्री कृष्ण इसको 17th और 18 चैप्टर में बहुत डिटेल में समझाएंगे हमें भगवत गीता में, कि किसको दान देना चाहिए, दान देने का असली पात्र कौन है, और दान भी कैसे अलग अलग रूपों में, अलग अलग भावों में दिया जा सकता है। तो उसको डिटेल में भगवान आगे बताएंगे। अभी हम ग्रॉसली इतना समझ सकते हैं कि वेन एवर इज समवन आस्किंग फॉर आवर हेल्प, गिविंग मनी इज एक्चुअली very potentially dangerous thing, because he may misuse it and we will have to suffer the karmas along with him. So what we can do is we can always help them in kind, like giving them some food to eat, giving them some cloth to wear, or helping them in some other ways, always good, and it is a nice gesture. And mostly they will not be able to misuse that thing. If we give money, definitely and surely somebody will snatch from them, or they will use it for drinking liquor. So surely we should try to avoid giving money, but we can always help them in other ways, in kind, in the ways which we find deemed fit for that particular person. Yes, Prabhuji. We will be exploring this more in 17th and 18th chapter, when those particular shlokas will come. Is there any other comment, query, question we can take?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, मेरे को
Hare
आपसे
Krishna.
बस
Yes.
ये पूछना है कि कृष्ण को समझ में कृष्ण जी ने जैसे हमारे लिए दुनिया में गीता लिखी, पर
जी.
हमारी लाइफ को स्टार्ट ही कन्फ्लिक्ट से कर देते कि वी आर ऑल लैंडिंग अप इन दिस लाइफ विथ स्कूलिंग, एजुकेशन,
Yeah.
फैमिली। तो भगवान ने एक और शॉर्टकट क्यों नहीं बना दिया कि सब गीतामय होकर ही जीते इस संसार में और अच्छे रहते? दिस
Yes.
वेरी डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन जो हम लोग पूछते रहते हैं अपने आप से, कि ऐसा मतलब यदि आप हमको नहीं बताते तो आज हम गीता से एसोसिएट नहीं हो पाते और बहुत मिस करते लाइफ में। तो ऐसा क्यों है कि हमको इतना लेट मिल रहा है ये सब?
यस मैडम, वेरी नाइस इंसाइट कि ऐसा क्यों होता है। एक्चुअली जब हमको भगवत गीता मिलती है और हम धीरे धीरे उसकी डेप्थ में जाते हैं, तो वी स्टार्ट बिकमिंग ग्रेटफुल टू ऑल द पीपल, ऑल आवर आचार्यस हु हैव गिवन अस दिस नॉलेज। एंड देन नेचुरली दिस क्वेश्चन अराइजेस कि ये पहले क्यों नहीं हुआ मेरे साथ, ये पहले क्यों ऐसा नहीं हुआ। तो मैं एक छोटा सा एनेक्डोट बताता हूँ आपको। शिला प्रभुपाद अमेरिका गए बहुत ओल्ड एज में, and he was preaching there, and there was one program in which he was conducting, and उस प्रोग्राम के बाद में क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन था। और क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन में एक यंग अमेरिकन लेडी थी, उन्होंने प्रभुपाद को बोला कि प्रभुपाद, आप और पहले क्यों नहीं आए अमेरिका में, ये सब हिप्पीज़म, इतनी सारी प्रॉब्लम्स, ये सब नहीं होती, आप और पहले आ जाते और पहले ज्ञान दे देते, हमारे पेरेंट्स को दे देते तो कितना अच्छा रहता, हमारा जीवन कितना सुधर जाता। प्रभुपाद ने क्वेश्चन सुना, उन्होंने पॉज लिया और उन्होंने फिर उसका आंसर दिया। उन्होंने बोला कि आई वॉज वेटिंग फॉर यू टू टेक बर्थ। सो दैट वॉज हिज आंसर। हिज आंसर वॉज कि मैं ये प्रतीक्षा कर रहा था कि कब आपका जन्म हो, क्योंकि जब हम एक्चुअली पात्र बनेंगे तो ज्ञान तो है, पूरी जगह व्याप्त है, गुरु तत्व हर जगह है। हम जैसे जैसे पात्र बनते जाएंगे, हम उस ज्ञान के अधिकारी बनते जाएंगे। ये बड़ा सुंदर शब्द है, पात्र। पात्र संस्कृत का शब्द है। पात्र का अर्थ होता है एक वेसल, एक कंटेनर। अब कंटेनर के अंदर क्या होता है, कंटेनर के अंदर एक डेप्थ होती है। आपको कुछ भी लिक्विड डालना है तो एक डेप्थ चाहिए आपको। वो डेप्थ जितनी जिसकी होगी उतना वो होल्ड कर पाएगा। तो ज्ञान हर जगह है गुरु तत्व के द्वारा दिया हुआ, लेकिन हमारी पात्रता जिस दिन बनेगी उस दिन हम उस ज्ञान के अधिकारी बनेंगे। उसके पहले वो ज्ञान हमारे सामने से निकल जाएगा, लेकिन हम उसको एक्चुअली रिकॉग्नाइज भी नहीं कर पाएंगे, न रेसिप्रोकेट कर पाएंगे। तो इसलिए ये बहुत वैलिड क्वेश्चन है कि ऐसा क्यों हुआ कि एक पर्टिकुलर जीवन के मोड़ पर हमको भगवत गीता मिली, उसके पहले क्यों नहीं मिली। समवेयर अगर हम इसको डेप्थ में समझें तो शायद हम उसके पहले जीवन के जितने मोड़ पे थे या जी रहे थे, शायद हम उतने उसके अधिकारी या पात्र ही नहीं थे, इसलिए हमें नहीं मिली। ये प्रश्न जरूर उठता है कि फिर सबको ही अगर भक्त बन जाए तो कितना अच्छा हो जाए। तो सबको ही अगर भक्त बन जाएंगे तो सच में बहुत अच्छा हो जाएगा, और इसीलिए हमें प्रचार करना है, इसीलिए हमें अपना प्रयास करना है। हम जब 100 लोगों को बोलेंगे तो 20 लोग जो हैं वो हमारी तरफ इंक्लाइंड होंगे। हमको इस बात से डिसहार्टन नहीं होना चाहिए कि हमने 100 लोगों को बोला और 20 ही लोग क्यों अट्रैक्टेड हुए। हमको ये सोचना चाहिए कि श्रील प्रभुपाद जैसे शुद्ध भक्त जब विदेश में प्रचार करने जाते हैं तो वो कहते हैं कि अगर मैंने एक व्यक्ति को भी भक्त बना दिया तो मैं अपना जीवन सार्थक मानूंगा। अगर श्रील प्रभुपाद कहते हैं एक व्यक्ति को भक्त बनाने पे जीवन सार्थक मानते हैं, तो हम तो अगर किसी को थोड़ा बहुत भी बदलाव कर पाए थिंकिंग में तो हमारे लिए वो इनफ है। इसलिए डेफिनेटली हम सब मिलकर ये प्रयास करें कि धीरे धीरे ये भगवत गीता का ज्ञान सबको मिले और सब उस मोड़ पे, उस अंडरस्टैंडिंग पे आए, एटलीस्ट हमारे परिवार में आए, हमारे समाज में आए कि भगवत गीता हमारे लिए बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। तो श्योरली ये ज्ञान हमें पहले नहीं मिला, इसका रिग्रेट होना ये दर्शाता है कि हम इस नॉलेज को वैल्यू करते हैं, और इसीलिए इस वैल्यू का रेसिप्रोकेशन क्या है, इस वैल्यू को शेयर करना। लाइक वी सी गुड मूवी एंड देन वी कम एंड टेल एवरीवन कि जाओ देख कर आओ, वो थिएटर से उतरे उसके पहले बहुत अच्छी मूवी है। भगवत गीता भी ऐसी मूवी है, 5000 साल से चल रही है, अभी भी शो चल ही रहे हैं भगवत गीता के और चलते रहेंगे। So let's hope कि we try to spread this to everyone, and I think more we spread it, it is more beneficial for society, more beneficial for all of us. So very nice thought, madam, that why we didn't got this early enough, but at least we still have time, so we'll try to follow it.
बहुत अच्छे से आपने समझाया कि
Yes,
हम लोग अभी तक पात्र नहीं बन पाए थे। कोशिश करेंगे कि जुड़े रहें और आगे बढ़ते रहें। बहुत
यस
बहुत
मैडम।
धन्यवाद।
और एक हमारे आचार्यगण हैं, वो बताते हैं कि ये पात्र में गहराई चाहिए। वो गहराई पात्र की क्या है? बोले ह्यूमिलिटी, विनम्रता उस पात्र की गहराई है। तो कौन कितना धारण कर पाएगा ज्ञान को, वो विनय पे डिपेंड करता है। विद्या विनय संपन्न है, ब्राह्मणी गवी हस्तिनी। विद्या विनय संपन्न है। विद्या किसके पास आएगी? जो विनय होगा जिसके पास। जिसके पास विनय नहीं है उसके पास विद्या नहीं रुकेगी। और आई थिंक Shashi Khare madam will agree to this knowledge and this way of understanding. Madam, you want to contribute something from your extraordinary life and understanding?
So definitely what you are saying is 100% correct. There is no doubt about it.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much. Thank you for blessing us always. And madam inspires us a lot with her dedication. I am no one in front of her, and still she comes and
No,
listens.
sir, it is not like this.
Many time when I see madam, I am actually lost at words. I think कि मैं इनके सामने क्या बोलूँगा. She is so senior in all ways and every ways, but still like we can learn so much from madam. Thank you so much.
No, sir. It is not the question of age, it is the question of knowledge, and you have wonderful knowledge. मुझे भी कविता जैसा ही लगता है कि बहुत लेट मैंने, मतलब आफ्टर रिटायरमेंट आई स्टार्टेड reading and learning Gita. I was in Brahma Kumari. From Brahma Kumari only I learned that something is like Gita. Then in Gayatri Parivar also, and Guruji, he used to write Akhand Jyoti. अगर आपने पढ़ा हो तो.
Yes, I have read
also full of Gita.
Yes, it is.
Later on when I read Gita, then only I realized कि ये तो सब गीता ही है.
गीता ही है. And he focuses very much on निष्काम कर्म योगा. His articles,
बाद में समझ में आया कि जितने भी पंथ हैं वो सब बता तो गीता ही रहे हैं. तो अल्टीमेटली हमें तो गीता ही पे जाना है, जो हम बहुत लेट हो गए. ठीक है, पर
Yes,
चीजें
ma'am.
तो बहुत लर्न कर ली थी पहले भी,
जी
मतलब हर
जी
हर पंथ में तो चीजें तो वही है।
वही है जी।
बस
सब जगह वही है, थोड़ा प्रेजेंटेशन का अंतर है, ज्ञान
अंतर।
वही है, भगवत गीता का ही है। उसी को आजकल मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर्स बिल्कुल नए
हाँ,
तरीके से पुट कर
एक एक
देते हैं।
श्लोक में वो मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर बना रहे हैं पूरा अपना लेक्चर।
जी जी। स्टीफन कोवी जो सबसे फेमस मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर हैं, और 7 हैबिट्स ऑफ हाईली इफेक्टिव पीपल बुक लिखी उन्होंने, और बहुत फेमस बुक है, बेस्ट सेलर है बहुत सालों से। वो इंडिया आए एक बार, तो उनसे इंटरव्यू लिया कि आपकी बुक को इंडियंस को कैसे आप प्रोपोगेट करेंगे, क्या बोलेंगे। तो उन्होंने बोला कि मैंने तो सब कुछ भगवत गीता से उठा के लिखा है, बोले इंडियंस को
बिल्कुल
क्या जरूरत है मेरी बुक की, दे शुड
बिल्कुल,
रीड
ये
भगवत
बिल्कुल
गीता।
बिल्कुल सही है ये।
यस।
क्योंकि मुझे भी अब इस स्टेज पे अब यही रियलाइज होता है कि बाकी जो जो जिसने लिखा है स्पिरिचुअलिटी के बारे में, वो कहीं ना कहीं गीता ही से लिया है।
सब गीता
गीता
से
पूरा
लिया है।
कंसोलिडेटेड फॉर्म ऑफ
यस
स्पिरिचुअलिटी है।
यस
उसके बियॉन्ड कहीं कुछ जाने की जरूरत नहीं, बहुत डिटेल में। जैसे मुझे वो जो आपकी बड़ी वाली किताब है भागवतम,
हाँ
वो
जी
नहीं पढ़ी मैंने, उसके 2-3 स्कंद ही पढ़े।
जी।
ज्यादा पढ़ने में मजा मतलब नहीं आया, मुझे तो
हाँ,
लगता है गीता ही उतनी इनफ है
गीता
अगर हम
इतनी
उसको
इनफ है।
फॉलो कर
यस
लें तो।
यस।
उसका एक एक अक्षर फॉलो करना ही मुश्किल है।
मुश्किल है, एक
आगे
श्लोक
कैसे
में
कहा जाए।
इतने पजल्ड हो जाते हैं कि अब ये श्लोक, मैं कई बार सोचता हूँ कि आज ये श्लोक उठाऊंगा और इसको मैं आज अपने लाइफ में दिन भर पुट करूंगा। तो आफ्टरनून होते होते आई एम इन फिक्स कि अभी क्या हुआ, हाउ आई पुट इट, हाउ आई डू इट। इट इज रियली चैलेंजिंग, इट इज रियली चैलेंजिंग। बट देन व्हेन यू स्टार्ट डूइंग दैट, इट इज वेरी एंजॉयिंग ऑल्सो। देन यू गेट सम न्यू इंसाइट। बाय इवनिंग यू अंडरस्टैंड कि अरे ये श्लोक का एक डायमेंशन और है। So this is beauty of Bhagavad Gita. And like
हर एक
you
बार
said,
पढ़ने में कुछ नया ही समझ में आ जाता
yes,
है।
every time, like we are doing these sessions on so many years. And still every time when I think कि अभी ये श्लोक पे तो मैंने पिछली बार बोला था, and then I think कि नहीं, वो जो बोला था उससे तो बहुत आगे अभी और कुछ भी है बताने के लिए. So
बिल्कुल।
it is really very inspiring. Thank you, madam. Thank you so much for blessing us.
थैंक
जब भी आपके पास समय हो, प्लीज मैडम, प्लीज कम ऑन ऑनलाइन क्लासेस,
यू।
रियली
नहीं
encouraging
तो मैं
for all.
बाद में अगर नहीं होता है तो मैं यूट्यूब पे सुन लेती हूँ आपके सब। अभी सुबह ही
And
मैंने
when you are
सैटरडे वाला सुना।
personally present, actually it
हाँ,
is
वो
very
कई बार ऐसा
inspiring
हो
to me.
पाता है कि नहीं
हाँ
सुन
yes
पाते। अभी
madam, I
सैटरडे को आई
understand.
वाज बिजी, तो
Yes.
मैंने आज सुबह सुना आपका 4 बजे।
अच्छा, अरे thank you so much madam, thank you so much. So we all are trying together as a team to share this knowledge with everyone and to get something good for all of our life.
वी वांट टू चेंज सोसाइटी, दैट इज अवर एम।
Yes, we should try.
पहले अपने को और फिर
अपने को
सबको।
फिर सोसाइटी को। यस मैडम, थैंक यू सो मच।
कल के सेशन के बारे में एक चीज मैं बताना चाहूंगी कि राधा जी के बारे में आपने एकदम नया जो बोलना चाहिए ना, वो फील्ड जो हम लोग को कुछ भी नहीं पता था वो बताया। और उसके बाद जो छोटा सा डिस्कशन पार्ट था,
जी
तब मुझे लगा सत्संग और बोलते हैं ना जैसी संगत कर रहे हैं, तो इतना अच्छा लगा कि सब नॉलेजेबल है और हम लोग उसमें एकदम जो डलेस्ट बच्चा है वैसे बैठे हुए थे कि कुछ पता नहीं है। तो बहुत अच्छा लगा कल का सेशन, बहुत मजा आया। थैंक यू फॉर दैट ऑल्सो।
थैंक यू मैडम, ये आपकी ह्यूमिलिटी है, यू नो एवरीथिंग, इट इज जस्ट ह्यूमिलिटी। बट थैंक यू सो मच, रियली। एक्चुअली आप लोग हेल्प करते हैं, आते हैं, इसीलिए हम लोग ये सेशन कर पा रहे हैं। कई बार ये प्रश्न उठा हमारे डिवोटीज के बीच में कि ये रिकॉर्डिंग्स डालनी चाहिए कि नहीं डालनी चाहिए। पीपल वेयर इन टू माइंड्स। मैनी पीपल दे टोल्ड मी कि रिकॉर्डिंग आप डालोगे तो लोग आएंगे नहीं ऑनलाइन, बाद में सुनेंगे, या ऑफलाइन आप करोगे तो नो बडी विल टर्न अप। मैंने सबको हाथ जोड़ के एक ही बात बोली कि हो सकता है लोग ना आए, लेकिन ये नॉलेज सब तक पहुंचना चाहिए। हो सकता है वो संडे को 18 सेशंस, किसी के लिए भी प्रैक्टिकली 18 संडे निकालना संभव नहीं है, लेकिन हम ये तो कर ही सकते हैं कि रिकॉर्डिंग हम शेयर कर दें, जो मिस हो गया शायद वो सुन ले, इंस्पायर हो जाए किसी एक बात से। तो हमारे लिए नंबर्स इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है, हमारे लिए इम्पोर्टेंट है कि एक भी हृदय परिवर्तन हो जाए, तो हमारा ये सारा एफर्ट जो है 18 सेशंस का, ये सक्सेसफुल हो जाएगा। और किसी का नहीं तो शायद मेरा ही हृदय परिवर्तन हो जाए। आई नीड योर ब्लेसिंग्स। थैंक यू सो मच।
आपको बहुत सारे हम लोगों के आशीर्वाद मिल रहे हैं और मैं बता
थैंक
रही
यू मैडम।
हूँ गीता जी रामायण सब घर में थी, पर पढ़ के हमको उसके बारे में जो आप ज्ञान दे रहे हैं, जैसे बोलते हैं ना गुरु चाहिए होता है, तो यू आर गिविंग दैट कि हमको उसको कैसे अप्रोच करें, कैसे समझें। एक बार हम समझेंगे तो हम उसको और अपने पास ला पाएंगे।
यस
श्रद्धा
मैडम।
तो थी,
जी
पर
मैडम।
श्रद्धा के साथ हम उसको अपने लाइफ में नहीं कर पा रहे थे, कैसे करें चेंज। तो आप जो कर रहे हैं, आप जो बोल रहे हो ना, रिकॉर्डिंग, सब रिकॉर्डिंग हम लोग सुनते हैं, कई बार दोबारा सुनते हैं जैसे रिवाइज करने को, कि अच्छा ये चीज समझ में नहीं आई, ये सुने। और जो आप कर रहे हो वो हम लोग, एक जन भी बदल जाएगा तो आपका सार्थक हो जाएगा। आपका कितना डिवोशन है, लेक्चर बनाने में इतना टाइम लगता है, उसको ऑर्गेनाइज करना, अब आप उस लेवल पे पहुंच गए, पर फिर भी एफर्ट्स लगते हैं। और आप हम लोगों के लिए इतने एफर्ट्स कर रहे हैं, वो हम लोग एकदम दिल से आपके आभारी हैं।
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much. Please keep blessing me with your association so that we can do something good for the society. Thank you so much. On everything, all this knowledge is coming from Srila Prabhupada. Actually, I am doing nothing. I am just copying and pasting it. So मेरा काम केवल कॉपी पेस्ट वाला है, बट स्टिल पोस्टमैन का भी एक छोटा सा रोल रहता है लेटर घर तक पहुंचाने में. So I am trying to do that. Thank you so much. So we'll end our session today. So kind of you. Jai Shri Prabhupada.